Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Anders. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on May 24th, 2024 at approximately 4:30 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I build myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I personally guide just about every movement I make by. Now, I know these tools will work for you because they continue to work for me and have literally worked for thousands of others with varying degrees of success, depending on their own personal efforts. With this in mind, this week, as we were talking about, we will be dealing with finances and subsequently prosperity. Okay, but today we're going to look at the essence of it. And again, if you've got questions, even if they're not in the same field, absolutely put the questions in the chat room, preferably in all caps so I can find them, at least partial caps, or at the very minimum, put a wavy hand, something to get my attention. I will do my best to get to them. Hey, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Boy, do we have things to discuss, quite frankly, outside of the chat, outside of this. Because the ramifications that have come to light on what we're planning on could be intriguing. Well, they are intriguing, at least in my eyes. But when we look at finances, the first thing we got to realize is finances are actually very simple. Now, understanding I am not a financial advisor, as in I've never been trained. Steve, you are in with the gold. How you doing? Glad you could join us. I've never been trained in traditional thinking, okay, especially where finances are concerned. So what we're looking at is what I've seen in the way of practicality, in the way of personal experience, and the energetic flow. Now, just to be clear, if you're stop and think, if your finances, if your level of prosperity is not at the level you desire it to be at, then I suggest you take a look at these. These are tools I literally have tested myself. And like I said, thousands of others have put them to use. Now, if you haven't done so already, get yourself a pad of paper handy or a recording device of some form, okay? Because we're not going to wait till the end of the show to give you the tools. We're going to give you the tools as we go along. Okay, again, if you haven't utilized these and you're not content with your own life path at this point, now is the time to make a change for it. Now, absolutely, you can postpone it until next week. Okay, you can postpone it until 6 months down the road. But when you get around to acting on it, it will be in the here and now. Now, I didn't quite get where I was planning on today, but what I will tell you, and where's my little... Of course, I'm looking for my pad that I've got the room to work with. That. I make notes for myself, as I've told you, because it works. Now, I've already got a list of things I have to deal with. What am I working on here? Different projects I'm in the middle of. Now, if you haven't done this already, okay, where do we start? Well, we start with understanding one little detail. Number one, money does not care one way or the other how you feel. Renee, you are in with the silver. How you doing? Glad you could join us. Money could not care any less or any more. How you feel, who you sleep with, how much money you've got, who you're voting for, none of it matters. Money will still behave as money does. It's got no concern at all for how you're feeling. Okay, that's the first thing you got to realize. Secondly, it's got no emotion. So money will operate the way money does. Now, you've got one of two ways of looking at things. Either you can stay on the path you're on, okay, or you can change what you're doing. Now, if the path you're on is not working as well as you'd like, then it might be time to alter your path. Basically, it boils down to this. If what you've been doing has not provided you with the results that you were hoping for, then quite frankly, it's time to alter what you've been doing. I was talking to somebody today, their job has not been going well. So my first comment to them was, whatever you do, do not quit your job until you've got a replacement income, because money doesn't care. There is that funny little thing of mine right there. See, here's the thing. We got to realize money is a form of barter. That's it. Okay. Now, I am looking for something very simple here. I'm sure some of you guys have seen this before. Just going to show you something real simple here. Oh, look at that. Now, of course, you guys down in the States, all your money, from what I've seen, is all the same color. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I don't have... That's not entirely correct. I do so. I'm going to show you something really neat. And this is just to frankly prove a point. Or more to the point, demonstrate a point. Why am I going into my cash box? Here's why. People are caught up in some pretty silly concepts in my eyes. But this will make sense in about 10 seconds. The reality is I don't think things through very far. Okay. And this is why I say I'm not what you would call... Uh-oh. Oh, I missed that. Christine, how you doing? You are in with the bronze today. How you doing? I do believe I just said how you doing. Hopefully things are going well for you. And we have Storm and LA Moon in the house. And the reality of it is this, guys. I've got them dealing with all the security, all the technical side, because frankly, it's a headache for me and I can't do it properly anyway. Now, here's the thing. Now, in the States, and I get a kick out of this, money is not prejudiced. It does not have any concern about who you are, what color you are, what you believe in. Doesn't matter if you believe in life after death or anything. It doesn't care. Now, I'm going to suggest that in the States, you realize one little detail. This is all United States money. Okay? But you'll notice something very important about this. And it's time that in the States, now I'm just saying this in the States, it covers every country in the world. In the States, it's just visible. Okay? We have a $1 bill. Okay? You'll notice it's green. We have a $5 bill. It too is green. Then we've got a $10 bill. Oddly, green. And a $20 bill. And again, it's green. Now, you'll notice they will sit together quite readily no matter what their color. They don't argue with each other. They sit there and go, I'm money. A $1 bill will look at it and go, I don't have as much value in a financial standpoint as a $20 bill. But that doesn't make me worth any less. every one of you has the same thing. Now, while you're in the States, well, while you're anywhere in the world, this money works beautifully. It's all one color. Now, yes, there are different shades. Okay, but it's all one color. Up here in Canada, we've got a slightly different version. We don't have $1 and $2 bills, but we've got the $5 bill, which is blue. Okay, we've got a $10 bill, which is purple. A $20 bill, which is green. And a $50 bill, which is pink, or orange or red, depending on what color your eyes work with. Point being, these guys are all a different color. They all still respond to each other the same way. You may have more money than somebody. Well, here's the funny thing. Let me ask you this there, Steve, because I will tell you, money is useless in outer space. This is why they don't use it out there. Can you picture trying to get any cash off the planet? This is why the digital world works. But understand something. And this is all money is. Okay? We go like this. We take a $10 bill. Which would you rather do? Okay? Drag this around or yank a cow around after you. This is simply an agreed upon money. It's an agreed upon value for barter. That's it. Okay. That's what money is. It's a barter system, period. Now, what you've got to do, what it would be wise to sort out, okay, is that we are talking about a barter system. Money won't die. Money will simply transform. Money used to be chickens and cattle and goats. Okay. Then they evolved to cheese and butter, and you get the picture. Now, first and foremost, Steve, I'm going to get you to make one immediate change. And I'd love you to put this into the chat room. I'll explain why in about 10 seconds. But you've written, I have a knack of killing money. Okay, which is fine. I would recommend not burning it anymore. Money sitting in your wallet, sitting in your bank, is doing virtually nothing. Okay, it will sit there. It won't earn money. It won't grow in abundance at all. But what I'd like you to do, let me ask you this. Are you content with your financial state right now? Okay, as in when you look in the bank, are you content with what you've got sitting there? And by the way, this is a question for all of you, because that's what this whole week is about, is looking at changing that aspect. Now, I love that. Steve goes, absolutely, I'm content with it. This is a good thing. Okay, in all fairness, Steve, you're one of the very few that I know of that are. I will tell you, I am not sitting where I desire to be. But money itself does this. If it sits in the bank, okay, it may be getting a little bit of interest, but you gotta watch your service charges. One of the first things that I look at is this. Now, let me ask you this, Steve. And yes, I'm picking on you because you're here. Okay. Let me ask you this. I shouldn't say picking on, I should say involving. Do you have what you consider an abundance or a surplus of finances? Of cash flow. Do you have the ability to go and do whatever you desire without concerning yourself about whether you're overextending? I know when I look in my bank, I'm not happy with that at all. Of course, I also know I did it to myself. But the first thing we look at is where are you standing? So if we're going to start making things change, what you do is, and again, make notes, people, or listen to the stream again. It's no problem there. You know, okay. Yeah, and Steve goes, no surplus, but not hurting either. Now here's a neat little thing. If you've got no surplus, and I do not talk about the idea, well, what if the world goes to heck in a handbasket? What if it does? But I am a firm believer that having a backup, having a surplus that you can call on for emergencies, for unforeseen circumstances, very necessary. And this is what we're talking about at this point. How to take your world from where it is, okay, to where it is safe, where if there is a hiccup, okay, we're not talking about preparing for all of a sudden some major shortage. I'm a firm believer that in your house, regardless of how much money you've got, regardless of what the state of the economy, it is wise to have at least 3 months non-perishable food in the house. This is great, Steve. You're in much better shape than most. Okay. Now, the first thing we do, okay, is take that sheet of paper and on it literally write. Okay, Joe, how you doing? Now, this is good. Joe's just going. Joe, you are in with honorable mention, by the way, I believe. I just got to double check that. We are looking at, let's see. Steve is in with gold, Renee with silver, Joe with bronze, Christine with honorable mention. There we go. Oh, wait, you came in earlier anyway. Here's the thing. Now, I encourage people to go on food stamps or whatever is required. I myself am on disability now. 37 years in the making, but I got there. But here are and I'm calling a hand up, not a hand out. You've already put your time in. Here's the thing. Okay. Literally on a sheet of paper, and we'll get to why in a second. Literally write down, I have surplus income. Okay. Or if you desire, I have more money coming in than must go out. Okay. The reason for this is if you've got a higher income than you do an expense level, you're going to find your bank account grows. You're going to find that the surplus, that the stuff you've got around you alleviates a lot of that stress. Now, by doing that, you set the stage for changing your world. Nobody literally is going to come in and straighten that out for you. You may get a windfall. Somebody may give you a little bit of money, but you're still the one that's going to have to handle it. So, what you do, where are we here? Put that out of my way. This is just a list of things like I'm talking to you. This is my clipboard to keep an eye on what I'm doing. First thing that you look at, when I get done this stream, I'll be going through all my finances myself. But take that sheet of paper and you write on it what all of your current bank balances are. What we're doing is we're doing an assessment of where it is, because the energy that we're working with, you've got a choice. You can leave it continue doing exactly what it's been doing, which may not be that effective, or you can take dominant control over it and guide what your money is going to do. Okay, money makes it works for you if you understand how. And I will tell you, gambling on investments that may net 8, 10, 12%, I've heard a lot of claims. Okay, and I will tell you, the bank will say, hey, we're going to give you 8%. Aren't we nice? Great, except they're making 20 to 25% return, which means that 8% is pocket change, which is great. They're doing the work. No harm there. But you've got to stop comparing to other people. Start comparing yourself to what you've got. Now, when you're looking at look at this, we're going to drop. Maybe not. But I do think I should do that before it gets out of hand. I can see where this is going to go. So we're just going to back up a little and do Frank a little bit of a favor. By the way, these boxes you see behind me, most of them are empty. When we look at your finances, it boils down to whether or not you're actually changing things, where you're guiding what it's doing. Money itself is another way of simply measuring prosperity. If you watch and your bank account grows, your savings account grows, we'll look at that as well. If it is growing, it's kind of like when I look at my subscribers over here on the YouTube channel. We got 619 right now. Now I keep seeing people going, "Oh, I've got 30,000. I've got 1 million people, 1 million viewers." Great, and I can compare myself to that. But I look at it going, last week I think I had 616. I'm still growing. Okay, fortunately my weight is still dropping. Money, like weight, really doesn't care. But get in and figure out what the balances are, literally, of your bank accounts. Whoop, don't need that. Find the balance of all of your bank accounts. Okay, this means what's in your accounts as well as any loans you've got. Find out what they're sitting at. All we are talking about at this point is assessing where you're standing. And we will be going through all of this for the next week because it affects everything in reality. Okay, it affects your material prosperity, it affects your mental prosperity, and it affects your spiritual prosperity. And we'll cover all of that. Okay, you figure out your balances, your loans, figure out your balances for your different credit cards. Okay, and yes, there's a way of figuring out whether you're handling those in the right fashion too. Now understand, before you go down that road, somebody's going to go, "Well, how well are you doing?" Not well. But I now know exactly where I'm standing. Okay, or more to the point, I've got the method of sorting it out. I didn't get a chance to go into my accounts to be able to say, here we are. But that will be the next thing I do when I get done this stream. One of the things we have to realize, wherever you put your focus, this is where your outcome is going to come in. Now, if you are truly content, what I have seen through the literally thousands of people I've talked to, okay, is if you're content, you do not spend as much money or give away as much money trying to make yourself feel better. Okay, I'm all for people helping each other. As a matter of fact, I strongly encourage it. But I caution you, do not try to take care of everybody else before ensuring you yourself are stable. Okay, so once you know what your balances are, you'll be able to look at it and go, okay, this is what I'm sitting on. Now you start to change. Okay, back that up. Now you know what you've got sitting on. Now look at your utilities. Make certain they're all up to date. Okay, yes, all we are doing, okay, is looking at the base finances. Yeah, Joe Stewart's going, I'm no financial expert by any means. No. And, focus, and somebody focused on finances, I don't know one that is an expert. What I do know is that I have talked to people that are literally millionaires in your life and your level of prosperity. It's a simple formula. Spend less money than you've got coming in. You will grow. Okay. Take a look at what you're doing. I went out today and in 1 hour, okay, and this is why I said what I was saying about I have decided to go back into the consulting side of things. Okay. Now, am I going to do it for free? Certainly. If you've got a question, okay, put it in the chat room. On here, in Positive Perspectives, which is my free newsletter, okay, in these two venues, nothing I do I charge for. Okay. I do, however, consult face to face. Okay. Now, bear in mind, I prefer working on video access if it's possible. Some of you don't have that option. Okay, one thing we have to realize is if your bank account is not growing, even if you've got enough money to keep you content, if it is not growing, then frankly, you're literally your energy flow has been bottlenecked somewhere. Money is designed to grow, but you don't invest in my experience, you don't invest in an idea. You invest in people. Now, I'm going to the top. I'm 10. I'll take as many people with me as I can get away with. Okay. One of the first things we look at, now let me grab this. Oh, sorry. Oh, sure, I put that away. This funny little book here, Believe in Your Finances and Follow Your Dreams. Okay. A lot of what we're looking at is contained right here, but not all of it. Okay. This simply gives the backbone. But take a look at what you've got. Okay. If your finances are not growing, okay, then you've got a roadblock. Okay. And it's time we sort that out. Thank you so much there, LA. It's time to get rid of the roadblocks. I don't know about you, but living on limited income, relying on government handouts, relying on government hand up, I don't care what you call it. I got nothing against people being on having food stamps and what have you. I have something against the reason people have to be. Okay. If finances were being handled properly at the top levels, we wouldn't have the problem we're in today on a global level. So let's deal with your pocketbook, with what you can do about it. Okay. And the first step to that is take a stock of what you've got. Okay. In answer to the question somebody's bound to ask. Okay. Yes, this is a booklet, not overly big, but the changes that can happen to your world if you follow the tools herein. And there's lots of really good tools out there. Okay, I operate on a simple philosophy. If you've got X dollars coming in, now budgets, in my experience, and from the number of people I've talked to, only work if you have a definitive flat amount of money coming in. Okay. Now I'm lucky. Okay. In some ways, I now have my disability check coming in, and I've got a contract coming in that I know this is what I'm working with. Therefore, because of that, I can absolutely budget that income. Brainbox. So I can look at what I've had, what I know comes in, but it gets skewed. Okay. I've got a definitive coming into my house of 1965 before I do much of anything. Okay. I do appreciate that, Ellie. You know, Ellie just said, literally, has just said, I've read this book and have really profited from it. It's a good read and easy to understand. And really an easy to understand read. I highly recommend it. Now, I'm just reading what's being written in the chat room. Okay. The way I look at it, I've read some financial books. As a matter of fact, I've read most of Donald Trump's writings, you know, The Art of the Deal, etc., etc. Big book, lots of information in, but let me point something out. If it takes you a month and a half to read to get the basics, there is, in my opinion, a bit of a hiccup. This particular book is, just let me double check, a whopping 22 pages. Okay, but, you know, and I know this is probably tooting my own horn, but probably better I do it than somebody else has to, you know, which honestly does not add up. But the tools in that book, and I'll show you as it goes along, but I've got, like I said, I've got 1,965 guaranteed coming in. However, today, because of the fact I am starting to push, say, the consulting, okay, I ended up going out and working. That went up by $80, like that. Okay. All I did was simply do what I'm doing here. Go, this is what you've got to do. Okay. That's just the reality behind it. You can stay on the path you're on. But remember what I told you about karmic law. Energy out, energy in. If you make no change, your life is going to stay the way it is. There is there is not somebody coming down. Nobody's going to come down and go, oh, we're going to solve this problem. I've had people try and do that for me. Here's a whole chunk of money coming in. I didn't change my behavior. Okay. Chalk one up to abject stupidity. To me, ignorance is you didn't know any better. For whatever reason, you didn't get the message. Stupidity, you knew better, and you went and did it anyway. Now, I turned around 2 years ago, maybe 3 now. Okay, I turned around. My mom passed away. I ended up with $100,000 in the bank. It was gone like that. Now, fortunately, more than half of that is locked up in investments that I will get the money back. But I'm living paycheck to paycheck because of my own stupidity. But here's the kicker. Okay. They absolutely do, LA. We'll get to that other side of it as well. You know, LA's just going, those people prey on the innocent and the desperate. Absolutely. So what I'm looking at, while wages are going up, or while prices are going up, what did I do? Understanding, consulting. I have legitimately been paid in excess of $2,600 an hour for what's sitting here. Okay, I have now dropped my price to $20 for 15 minutes, meaning $80 an hour. Now I will tell you that's one heck of a discount. And if you look at it, if we take 80 divided by 2,600, we are looking at a 97% cut in the cost of my consulting. You know, so do I charge? Absolutely. But here's the kicker. You have one of two options. You can live the life you've got. You're more than welcome to it. But what would you do if I told you, regardless of how much money you've got, there are ways to make it work better? Now, the two options you've got Or you can either keep doing exactly what you've been doing, at which point, by the way, your life is going to stay exactly as it is. Or you can start making changes. If you don't know how to make changes, absolutely, this is where I come in. Okay. And yes, I am directly saying that because it's time for me to come out of the shadows and go, look, I've seen this mess in all kinds of people's hands. No matter what state you're in. I had a client years ago. Her husband was making $100,000 a year bonus, and they could not make ends meet. Okay. Now, I've already made a number of mistakes. I've already done some pretty stupid things. And the thing I'm looking at is this. How do we get it across to you that these are the things that have been attempted? These are the things that have been experienced by literally thousands of people. Now, many of you are sitting there going, I just don't have the money. I don't know. It does make sense. I got no money. How am I going to improve? That's where this comes in. Okay. Every one of you. I don't deal with thousands of dollars surplus. And by the way, I'm not going to tell you send me money. I will tell you if you want to send me money, hey, I'm all for it. I don't turn down money. I'm just not that way inclined. But I'm not going to tell you, wait till the end of the week. I'll give you all the secrets. I'm going to give them to you as we go along. So again, and yes, I'm repeating myself. Absolutely. Okay. One thing I did discover was that repetition helps make it make sense. So get your sheet of paper, get your recording device. Doesn't matter. In today's world, an electronic notepad works just as well as paper. I just happen to be a dinosaur. And I am intending on getting an abacus and figuring out how to use that again. And yeah, I know. Why go back and learn an abacus? Why not? The more you use your brain, the stronger your brain gets. Okay. When you learn how energy works, and finance is just another form of energy. So take a look and assess where you're standing. That's the first step. Okay. Find out, and hopefully some of you guys will do this so that tomorrow when we deal head on, we can look at some of it. Like I said, I haven't got the numbers in front of me. I will have them before I get done my day tonight, so that when I come back online tomorrow, we will be dealing with literal, here's the numbers that we're working with. Here's how we're handling it. And you're sitting there going, well, why would you possibly tell us exactly what you're doing? Well, good question, but here's the answer. If I give you legitimate, straight up information, okay, you don't have to tell me. You do not have to share with anybody what your state is. I do strongly encourage you, if you're in a relationship, okay. Oh, not a problem there, Joe. This is not structured. Joe's just going, I know this is off. Joe Stewart has gone, I know this is off topic, but I love the story, Keith, about being a Sunday school teacher. Now, I will tell you guys, there's a lot I found out about the Bible, about Sunday school and the whole 9 yards, that I will not discuss it here. I will absolutely discuss it on somebody else's channel, on somebody else's stream. If they want to ask me about what I found out about the Bible, about the way it's put together, about what I found out in Sunday school, absolutely. Bring me on your show. I'll talk to you. I'm not hiding that side of it. I won't do it here because I've already had my hand slapped once. And that was for a very innocent comment that I made in my eyes. But YouTube has their own outlooks. Okay. So if you want that information, bring me on your stream. But the one thing I will not do for people, the other thing, and this is more important, I'm not about to lie to you to make you feel better. Oh, where do we go? Oh, there we go. Christine goes, I'm not opposed to hearing you, Keith. I'm open to all things, but I understand YouTube isn't. And that is precisely why I won't do it. That said, I have had discussions with some people, many people really, face to face about the way I see it and what I remember. This isn't the venue to do that in. But I will tell you this, no matter what your belief structure, money works as money does. Okay, and it's just another form of energy. Like everything else in energy, you have the ability to guide where it's going. Okay, now one of the things I did find out is you can have your money, no matter how much it is, can have a severe surplus. Okay, it's a question of knowing how to get it there. So, do an assessment of your finances. Okay, list off all sources of income and all bills. Now remember, we're talking, and bear in mind again, this is done in short form in this book. The same thing. Quite like, I got thinking about it. I'm like, I've already written the book. Why not put it to use? Okay. So what we take a look at, list off all, and doesn't matter what order you do them in. We'll get to that in a minute. List off all of your income, whether it is government, working, maybe you've got an inheritance or a trust fund coming in. Doesn't matter what the source. Write every piece down. Write down all of your bills. Rent, mortgage, lease, same thing. Okay. All of your utilities, meaning power, phone, cell phone. Maybe you've got garbage collection. Perhaps you've got a water bill. Okay. Perhaps you've got your insurance, your life insurance, home insurance, health insurance. Maybe you don't have them and just simply would like to have them but can't afford it because you don't know how to deal with it. Okay. We're going to go on the premise that if you don't know how to, if you've been doing it backwards, we're going to go on the premise that you're simply ignorant of it, meaning for whatever reason, you didn't figure it out. Now, I've done a lot of the stupid things I'm talking about, and this is why I'm talking about them now, is to see what we can do about pointing out the changes so you yourself can get on track. Because the money itself won't matter. Oh, LA's just reminding us, don't forget to include doctor bills. Yeah, LA goes, doctor bills, and I've got to get closer because I can't read that word. Oh, okay. Doctor bills and copays should also be there. Okay. Now, if I've missed something and you've got another bill that we didn't cover the categories on, absolutely include it. Because all we're doing tonight, not tomorrow. If at all possible, do it tonight. Okay? Because procrastination, putting it off, isn't going to help you get anywhere. Okay? And to bring this point home, by tomorrow, I will be able, when I come online tomorrow, I'll be able to go, okay, this is where my finances are. Now, it won't matter to you because quite frankly, if I'm near belly up, it doesn't make a lot of difference to you. But what does make a difference is here is the practical side of working with minimal money. Okay, get these bills listed. Once you've got them listed, okay, and be like Santa Claus. Make a list, check it twice. Okay, you figure out what to do with the rest of that. Okay, once you've got the list together, now we turn around and we break the money if we break the bills and the income into three different categories. Income is one all of its own, no matter where it comes from. If it's work, if it's a trust fund, if it's savings that are paying off, if it's government input, and yes, food stamps count as money coming in on today's world because food stamps are in lieu of actual cash. Now, somebody's still footing the bill. I got nothing against people that are on some sort of disability. I'm on disability. So why would I get mad at you for it? But I will tell you, I know for an absolute first-hand fact that if you've got control of your finances and you feel like you're doing something for them, these live streams and the Positive Perception and Perspectives newsletter are being done for free. They are my way of giving back to the community. Okay. Now, once you've got your list of bills set up, okay, now we're going to break them into three categories. And again, hopefully you've got your notepad handy. Okay. Literally, you start off, there's three categories. Your living expenses. These are the bills that have to be covered before you start handing money out to anybody. Okay. Now, what you do with your money, clearly this is up to you. But your living expenses are your rent or your lease or your mortgage. Doesn't matter. Whatever you've got to keep a roof over your head. And bear in mind, whether we are talking your household or your business. Okay. Whichever one it is, doesn't matter. Then these are the bills you get listed off. Your rent, your mortgage, your lease, whatever keeps a roof over your head. All of your functional utilities, including rent or including power, gas, water, okay, your phone, your cell phone, your insurance, health, auto, house, and your home insurance. Okay, all get covered. Okay, one credit card, and we'll get to that in a little while, but one credit card gets listed under your utilities. Now, okay, when you're looking at that, that's your first category. It'll be a pretty fair chunk. Hopefully that's the biggest load. Now, those are the bills that you deal with before you start looking to help everybody else, because those are the ones that keep a roof over your head. Okay. Now, if you're like me, many of your bills are behind. In my case, I'm only behind by a month and a half, 2 months. But I knew that making the trip to Reno. I will tell you this, I wouldn't trade that trip to Reno for all the money that I could have had. It was just way too valuable, the trip. The next one's going to be even more valuable to me. But that's your first one. Now, the second set of bills that you've got, that second category, break them down. Now, I do suggest utilities, then before I go on to the second set, when we look at your living expenses, priority one, the one you do not miss, period, is your rent, your lease, your mortgage, whichever. Okay, whatever title it's got, that's the one that gets dominant concern over everything. Okay, because if you don't keep that paid and they cut your house off, paying your utilities isn't going to matter. Okay, the second most important bill. Now, let me ask you this. Out of your power, your phone, your cable, your internet, your cell phone, which of those is the most important bill that you never let get behind itself? Which one is the most important out of those ones? I'd love to see an answer in the chat room. And by the way, just to reiterate, all of this is covered in here. You'll notice it's not that big. There's a reason for that. Rent definitely has to get covered first. What's the next one that's got there? That's thank you for that, LA. What's the utility that's got to be covered before any of the rest of them even get considered. You know, because let's face it, if your roof isn't covered, it won't matter if you pay the power or pay the telephone. Bingo. And guess what, guys? LA's gone. The electric is the important. And it is. Quite frankly, here's why. Keep your phone up to date. Okay. Keep your cable up to date. Keep your internet up to date. Don't pay the power. And see how much those are useful to you. If they cut your power, all the rest of it collapses. Therefore, power gets dominant concern. Second only to rent. Okay. Then you cover the rest of it. Now, the second set of bills that we look at is not the utilities are part of the first bank. Those are your living expenses. Now you take a look at every credit card, every loan you've got, every debt that you've got to anybody, to any company that is interest accruing. In other words, they add to the bill if you don't get it paid off. Okay. So you take the ones that are interest accruing debt. In other words, they are charging you to be in debt. That is, like I said, all of your credit cards, any loans you've got out, any, send something we'll get to that in a little bit. Probably tomorrow, but, matter of fact, where are we here? Just making a note of what I've got to make certain of for tomorrow. Now, the third set of bills that you put, the third category for bills is the static ones, the non-interest accruing, the ones that, like, let's say you borrowed $100 from your best friend. Okay, and he said, pay it back when you can. You still owe it. Okay, but he's not adding interest to it. So deal with the critical ones first. Now, yes, there are those of you that look at me and go, but he loaned it to me out of the kindness of his heart, and I've got to get him paid back. I'm not talking about not paid. I'm talking about making certain you don't hang yourself in the process. And I'm referring to metaphorically. So you list off the bills, anybody you owe money to or anybody you feel you owe money to. And I'm not going to mention who I actually feel I owe money to. But I've got listed in my books, these are the people I'm going to be paying back X amount of money because of what they've done, because of the fact that they've helped, this sort of thing. And I will tell you, the reason I'm not telling anybody who is because when I pay them, it's going to be a case of, here's the money. Okay, I'm not asking. I'm not looking for it coming back because the people I feel it goes to, this is me doing it, not somebody sitting on my shoulders going, you owe me. Okay, because frankly, that's not the way most people that end up helping me work. What is that? Oh, that's that. So I put that back. What I'm doing is just putting this cash away. Neat part, going through my junk today, I found a whole pile of change. Whole pile, probably $5 worth, but might have been more. I don't know. I didn't add it. But get those three types of bills listed off. Now you've got all of your bills listed, broken into three categories. Your living expenses, what's got to keep a roof over your head. Do not forget, in your list of living expenses, you've got to have your food. Okay? And when I'm talking about food, I do not mean you've got to be able to have steak Rockefeller every night. Actually, I don't think that's the way it's done, but I'm not high society. I figure steak, dead, doesn't move anymore, we're good. Okay, but When I'm talking about keeping food in your house, I mean so you don't starve to death. I don't mean necessarily state of the art. I don't mean necessarily best cuts. I mean literally something to keep food on your table. Okay. As we get your finances turned around, I won't guarantee it because it's in your hands. But the tools that I've got will facilitate buying the prime cuts, getting the new furniture that you're aiming for. What have we got here? Yeah, the food channel works out quite nicely from that end. Oh, there we are. Thank you so much, Ellie. Ellie goes, that's steak Diane and oysters Rockefeller. Mind you, I like steak and oysters, so that works. Although, with the state my teeth are in right now, steak's not exactly a functional option. But I am figuring out how to cook a little. And rest assured, I mean a little. When we look at energy flow, it boils down to this. Water, energy, finances all operate the same way. You can guide them where you desire. If you don't know how to guide them, this is what we're talking about this week. Once you got the list, and again, it comes down to that funny thing, we got a list. Here's the thing. The method works. Storm goes, the best steak is cooked to the point where it's good, you can have it back on its feet in minutes. Like I personally prefer my steak blue. Basically, kill the dang thing, warm it a little, and away we go. I'm not high on them because my body digests it much faster that way. Now, the neat thing about this is when we are looking at all of this, lots of people are out there saying, hey, if you got $10,000, we can make all kinds of money for you. How would you like it if I told you that by using the tools I'm talking about, and we'll go into further detail tomorrow. Okay. Well, this week we're going to be covering that, how it works, how to get it to work for your end, how it works in society's standpoint, in the larger empires, and quite frankly, in the imagination. It is all tied together. Okay, what would you do if I told you that if you got $5 to your name that you're not tied up using, I can show you with these same tools how to take $5 and make it start to grow. Okay, would you believe that is possible? Okay, now, at present, I hit the water hard from $100,000 surplus, as in more money there. And I hit hard. I am now underwater as far as I'm going to go. But I knew going on the trip to Reno that that's exactly what it was going to be. Okay, but what would you do if I told you, regardless of your income, okay, if you've got even $5 more than what you require, we can guide it so it starts working for you. Okay, now, there is a brilliant thought out there that, many people that have money, they'll say, well, if you can't afford it, cut back. This is a great idea. Cut back. But there comes a point where you can no longer cut back, which means, let me ask you this. If you don't have any more room to cut back on, you're already living on a shoestring, you're already barely putting food on the table. If you can't pull it back any further, what is the other option? Nathan, how are you doing? Glad you could join us. Oh, yeah, I guess it's your show tonight, isn't it? Now, what would you do if I told you with just $5 surplus, you can start utilizing these tools and actually getting ahead? Okay, that'd be first and foremost. But if you can't cut back any further, what is the other option? You've only got X number of dollars coming in, but you can no longer cut back anymore. You've gone as far down as you can. So, what's your option? Okay. And absolutely, if you've got input, pop it in the chat room. Okay, drop me a line. I am getting into everything tonight. Where it comes to emails and what have you. Some of you may have sent me emails that I've neglected for the last little while. I'm going through them tonight when I get done this stream. Okay, Lord knows if I'm getting any sleep tonight. But, by the way, and if you'd be kind enough to track it down, LA, that'd be great. But let's get Nathan's link to his show up in the chat room, if you would, please. Because what I'd like you guys to do is drop in. Oh, this is Friday. Okay. Gives you an idea how my time track goes. Tonight is Friday. Oh, that ought to be entertaining. Of course, it's not like I'm going to be listening to the mainstream news, but the thing is, when you get a chance, drop in on Nathan's show. Give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, give him a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. Because it's by sharing these links and these connections that we are going to turn this life around, this world around in a positive fashion, in spite of what's being broadcast. Now, the neat part about it, okay, is when we look at finances, you've got the money to work with it in all likelihood. You probably don't realize it. But, let's see. The neat part about the energy of finances is this. Because it doesn't care. It's got no concern how you're feeling. However, here's the kicker to it. Okay. When we look at the way finances work, your thought processes, your focus on what you're doing, okay, is a critical issue. Yeah, it's funny. Nathan's just going, Alien Girl 111 covered it. So cool, but most people seem to be dismissing it as just high-tech military. Nothing to do with them. Well, the funny part is, technically it is high-tech military. Problem is, it is so much higher tech than what man has. Okay, it is so much higher tech than what humans have that it's kind of like humans with the bow and arrow compared to a nuclear warhead. Okay, not compared to a gun, compared to a nuclear warhead. And no, we're not going to get into the end of the world. We're going to get into the end. This week we are focusing on a very simple issue. Thank you very much, Storm. And there we have it in the chat room, the link to Nathan's show, to the Quantum Show on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern, also known as 6 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern. I thought that was 9 p.m. Central, but that's okay. You can't possibly be all the way out east, are you? But what we are going to talk about the end of is the end of your financial struggles using your money, not using another loan, not using another debt incursion. Okay, money you've already got. Okay, because I don't know about you, but I've been borrowing from Peter to pay Paul most of my life. And of course, Sue got ignored. But this is why when we take a look up, Okay, what we have to look at is this. Wherever your finances are, there's a lot of really big, really expensive books. That's a brilliant idea. I desire to help you with your finances. So I'm going to write this massive book and I'm going to charge you $75 to buy it. Okay. Now, I absolutely believe that you should be paying, that you should be making a profit. You should be getting a return on your investment. Okay. This information, okay, where did I put it again? This information we're talking about right now, okay, is contained in here. Believe in your finances and follow your dreams. The thing is, when you take a look at the money in your account, we're going to end your financial struggle with you at the helm. But we're doing that by going, here's the way it moves. Okay, here's how to handle it. The money itself doesn't care. But I'll tell you, it's a heck of a sight easier moving a $10 bill than it is moving a cow. And besides that, you'll notice if you put a $10 bill in your wallet, it'll stay there until you use it. You put a cow in your wallet, he's going to kick the stuffing out of you first. One of the things we have to realize here, okay, is the reality of life is this. When you've got money, if it sits in your bank, in all likelihood, and we've got to cover that, in all likelihood, it's not going to earn a whole lot of money. Even if you put it into an investment, or perhaps especially if you put it into one. Money is guidable. Once it's coming in, the trick is simple. Spend less than is coming in. In this fashion, you will have a surplus. Now, do understand something very important. I'm talking about things that some of you may well have gone through. Okay, this may be common sense to you, or maybe you've already done this. The reason I'm covering the very basics is because many people have no clue where they went sideways. Okay, so this is being designed to help them. Now, what would you do if I told you that there is even a way whereby we can look at these things called sales? Sales are not always a great thing. Yeah, LA is going, so many young people miss out on the financial information. Well, you think about it, LA. When I was growing up, my parents made one mistake, and it's the same one so many continue to make. Don't talk about finances with your kids because you'll stress them out. Probably will. But let's look at the other side. Don't talk to your kids or your partner about your personal finances. Okay, and see how stressed out they get when all of a sudden you just can't deal with the brand bill anymore. What happens if there just is no money to put food on the table? What do you do there? Or how about if we try this one? Let's not talk about finances, with the children. Don't let them know what we're going through. Let them get out in the real world. Once they get out there, they can have the joy of making the exact same mistakes that you made. Quite frankly, I know for an absolute fact, given well over 100,000 clients, and I mean way well over, okay, I know for an absolute fact that most of the people, especially of the older generation, myself included, okay, but go back to my grandparents, the people who lived 100 years ago that went through the Great Depression. They know what it's like to be short on finance. Okay, and yet they perpetuated the same idea. let's not tell the kids. We don't want to stress them out. We'll bear the burden quietly. So the kid goes out, gets out on his own, doesn't know the first thing about financial manipulation. And now he makes the exact same mistakes you made. Are you doing the kid any favor? Are you really helping them? Yeah, Storm, that's the funny thing. The Storm goes, I chose general business class in middle school. Gave me quite a change in perspective. Absolutely. Like you, I took a course in both business and accounting. Didn't change some of the stupid moves I did, but at least I understood them, which means what I did was abject stupidity. What you may be doing, what you guys may be doing, is true ignorance. If you were never shown how to handle finances, you may be working in a real mess. Okay. Now, I could continue to say, hey, let's leave it alone. LA, same major I had. I majored in English and business. Okay, with a minor in mathematics. But in today's world, they don't even teach you how to add 2 plus 2. I mean, I looked at years ago, I was looking at their method, and talk about convoluted. Now, I don't know about you, but the old method of working with fingers works great until you realize that you got to have the same number of fingers. See, one of the things we have to realize is finances work on pure mathematical principles, plus and minus. Now, in accounting, they call it debit and credit. I still deal with income and outgo, even though I took a course in accounting. And yeah, I pulled an A in it. But what we're looking at this week is making certain you guys, everybody that's listening in, and absolutely share this with everybody you know. Okay, whether they are millionaires or paupers, this information is applicable to all of them. Okay, if you, let's say a loaf of bread costs $1. Okay, if you've only got $1, you buy 1 loaf. If you've got $10, you're able to buy 10 loaves. If you've only got 50 cents, get together with somebody that's only got 50 cents, buy it together, and split the loaf. Now both of you get to eat. Minimal, but at least you got food on the table. And we're going to be discussing how to make that grow as well. Okay, but the energy is simple. The finances are already there. They're flowing by over your head every second of every day. The trick is to realize that the guy that's got the big bank account up there does not deserve the money any more than you do. Okay, the fact they've got more enables them to buy more stuff. Newsflash, even if you buy all the stuff in the world, you die, it's not going with you. Okay, and for those of you that have this brilliant idea of, I'll just leave it for my kids, this is great. If you don't teach them how to handle it, that surplus that you leave them isn't going to survive. Okay, now what I'm going to show you over the next, and this week, we are just looking at the baseline. Then we'll touch back on it over the next several months and see what it's actually doing. Okay, and that's why I'm saying, when we get done this stream today, first thing you do, assess your financial situation. Take a look at where your money is. What do you got in your bank accounts? All of them, savings included, RSPs included, any investments. Take a look at what you've got and the list of bills that you have that are going out. Okay, by doing that, you get to know where you're standing. And that's the key to turning things around. Next thing you look at. Okay, get those all listed. The bills, the expenses you got, and the bills that are outstanding. Break them down into 3 categories. Okay, living expenses. These are the bills that must be paid to keep all of your utilities working, to keep everything operational. Okay, these are the bills that you require paying to make sure you've got a roof over your head, food on your table, and insurance in case of emergencies. By the way, one of your living expenses I forgot to include, a true savings account. Okay, I'm not talking about an investment fund. I'm talking about something that is strictly designed for savings. Okay, we will get into that again a little later. But the energy around finances simply says that cash flow is going across. You've got the option. Put your hand up and redirect some of it down to you. The one thing I do really encourage you to look at when you're thinking about it, is there any reason, or more to the point, does a millionaire or a billionaire have any more right to financial security than you do? Okay. Now, I will caution you, there's a staggering number of deals out there right now. Oh, you can give me $10 a month and you'll make $1,000 a week. You know, and there's these great things. You don't have to do anything. Just put the money in the slot and let it grow. Doesn't work that way, people. Money doesn't do that. Money does what you ask it to do if you guide it. Okay, rest assured, you put your money in somebody else's account, my suspicion is you're not going to have as much money. Now, let me ask you this. When you were growing up, think about it. Were you taught by your parents? Not by a class. Were you shown by your parents what the household finances look like? If the answer is yes, this is great. If the answer is no, did you ever go through a situation where you said, look, can I have an ice cream? And dad goes, no, we just can't afford it. Did you ever get told why? Okay. Or you just say, no, you're not getting an ice cream. Their stress level runs right high on the marker. But think of it. If you knew what the problem was, in your opinion, would it not have given you something to work with where maybe you wouldn't have been so mad? Okay. Maybe you wouldn't have been looking at your parents going, well, gee, they're not as caring as my friends are. Because my friend says, I want a bike, and the parent goes out and buys it. What you don't know is the parent probably bought it on credit. And we'll cover that again as well. Energy and money itself literally is nothing but a marker for prosperity. If you look in the bank and everything's in the red, well, let me see, because I think I know what that says. Yeah. LA goes, we were told no. There was no way we were to question that ever. I got handed the same thing. And I'll tell you, I looked at that and went, this isn't working. So I bring my kids in regularly and say, okay, this is where we're standing. This is what you're facing. This is why we can't do this. Now, this does not mean I have made stupid moves. I've made way more than my fair share. Okay. And yes, I'm sitting here telling you I can tell you how to make money work. Only this time when I tell you that, I'm also telling you tomorrow I will have all the information. I'll be able to say this is where I'm standing. And I will in all fairness, for those of you that think this way, no, frankly, to put it bluntly, it is nobody's business. It's not something that anybody requires, except if I'm going to tell you this works. Okay, does it not make sense to go, here's the starting point, here's where we're standing now. These are the changes that are taking place. Okay, had my parents done that, I would not necessarily have ended up in the same boat. It took me literally 55 years to figure it out. Now, that means 35 on my own because they didn't sit down and go, this is the way it is. Okay, when I get done taking stock of mine, I'm bringing my two boys in and going, here's where you're standing. Now, it's time to make it work. Okay, and no, I will be doing that offline, not on here. Okay, I will also be doing it with my other half because the reality is this. I'm sitting on the information just like I'm sitting here with you guys. I'm not asking for a statement as to what your finances look like. I'm suggesting you assess your own. And then we can work with what you've got and we can make it work better. Here's the kicker. Okay. Some of you will look at your finances and go, I'm not struggling, I've got enough to get by on, I'm fine. This is great. Until all of a sudden the unexpected happens and you find you're out of a job, you've got no income, and you weren't banking on it. Okay, we're going to show you how to build over time to get your savings up so that you've got a bare minimum of 3 months of finances. Where if you do suddenly end up out of work, you've got 3 months to find another job. Okay, and again, it comes down to that 3 thing. Okay, we are talking about making certain the energy that is finance works in a way that is functionally useful to you. Okay, and how all of that is going to be tied together. Because here's the thing. The one thing we have to look at here is the way you carry yourself. When you're under load of debt, you're going to be very edgy. And I say you're going to be because 90 to 95% of the people that I dealt with that were under financial stress did 2 things. Number one, they forgot how to smile. They were so caught up in the idea of what they were lacking, they could not see what they had. The second thing they do, okay, and I'm sure some of you have gone through this, is you spend money trying to convince yourself that you're happy. So you end up spending more money than you've got. Net result, you go further into debt. Okay, I don't have one. Now I get a kick out of it. Okay, credit cards, really useful things if you use them correctly. But here's what people tell you: oh, buy it on credit. This is a brilliant idea if you're trying to go bankrupt. Okay. However, what would you do if I told you there are keys that you can do with this, so that you can actually you can earn money on a credit card? And yes, that's one of those neat little secrets that the banks won't tell you because they don't want you to know anyway. But you got to remember, banks are a business. They are in it for their pocketbook, not for yours. Okay. And by the way, bank managers are not the people that are after the money. Okay. Bank managers are the ones that are taught and entrusted to make money for the bank owner. I'm here to tell you, okay, and to show you how to take that money and make it work. Because the energy of finance is tied directly to your feeling of prosperity. Okay, let me ask you this. Fashion and fashion statements aside, which do you see as a mark of success? Okay, whether we are talking senior people or the up and coming kids. Do you see somebody dressed in neat clothes as an indicator of success? Or do you see somebody with holes all through their clothing, head to the ground, just shuffling along? Is that the mark of somebody that is successful? You get to figure that out. Okay, now I will tell you, money gets to a point where you realize one thing: money itself does not buy happiness. How can you prove this? That's easy. Look at so called first world countries where apparently there's, this is the land of milk and honey. Unfortunately, when you get to that land of milk and honey, it turns out that the honeycomb is dry and the milk is sour. I'm not entirely certain, but that doesn't work for me anymore. Okay, so what I'm looking at is going, okay, how do we rejuvenate what you're sitting on? Not given that you had $10,000. Let's get you past the idea of having five. Okay, and that's the first thing we're going to start working with right now. This is why I said tonight, put that list together. What it does, it says, okay, here's the money at the headwater. This is where it's sitting. Pool's this big across, it's this deep. You've only got an inch of water in the bottom of the pool. Let's fill that pool, because if the pool is down to the last inch of water, you've got all this area that you're in debt. Let's start filling that pond. Okay, using tools and using abilities and focus that you are going to be gifted with. And the first part of that gift was assess your finances. Okay, absolutely. If you know anybody that is that is financially struggling, okay, if you know anybody and you figure they could use this, pass on the message. Okay, pass on this stream to other people. And again, where it comes to believe in your finances and follow your dreams, if you go to the top of the stream, you'll find the link for Buy Me a Coffee. Okay. And where is that? Okay, it's not going to do that. But if you go to what is now buymeacoffee/innervoicej.com. Buymeacoffee.com. That didn't work out well. Where the heck is it here? I don't know. I don't want to hit that. I should have pulled that up. There we go. buymeacoffee.com/innervoicej. Okay. All of the books that I've written and my consulting costs and the free newsletter are all available there. Okay. If you're having trouble, if your life is not going the way you desire it to go, absolutely, this is the time to change it. Not tomorrow, not next month. Because even if you postpone it until next month, you're still looking at the changes in the here and now. The finances are there. If we have billions of people on the planet with trillions of dollars going back and forth, why isn't it in your pocket? Well, I'll tell you why. On the whole, you're told you weren't allowed to have it. You were told you didn't deserve it. You're poor. Okay? Or you don't deserve it because, oh, I'm sorry, you live in a third world country. You don't deserve the money. Newsflash, if you're breathing, the money is out there. Okay? The cash flow, the prosperity, the good health, the proper eyesight, all of it is available to you. And this is what we're working with. This is not just about finance. This is about energy manipulation. Okay. This is about healing your body, your mind, your financial flow, your level of prosperity. This is about healing the whole 9 yards of it. It's all there. It's all there for the taking. Or, in all fairness, for the accepting. Okay. But there is a kicker to it. And I've shown you this multiple times because I'm a firm believer in it. I am worth it. This sign, these 4 words in conjunction, are the strongest 4 words I've ever come across in any language, written or spoken, regarding rebuilding, self-esteem, self-worth, self-actualization. Okay. The whole 9 yards. Those 4 words work. So I've got that one on wood right there. I've got a sign right above my computer that I can see. I've got one on my fridge and one on the front door. Okay. I strongly encourage you to transfer those over. Now, something else about energy. And we're just going to touch on this for half a minute. Oh, there we go. Thank you so much, LA. Oh, LA goes. Their carriage is a major marker of wealth. They may be only in jeans or polo or pants. Well, only in jeans, a polo or jeans, and a clean pair of white tennis shoes. Their glasses are polished and their hands are well tended. Okay, and this is the thing. A lot of people look at that. I look at it going, if I'm content, I am about as off kilter from the idea of high society as we can get. And yet, walking through events, I have had people come up to me, and I mean people that have money, asking for more. I looked at a friend of mine one day. I said, why does everybody ask me for this? I don't have a lot of money. I'm going to. From here on out, we are going to see a climb. We're going to see a climb in my income. We're going to see a decline in my debt load, and subsequently an incline in my savings. You'll notice the wave pattern. Okay, and here's the kicker to it. This is going to happen. It is happening now because I took a look at it and went, I know how to do this. I have been putting it off. I've been avoiding the world. Now it's time to step into the front line and go, okay, guys, the money is there. The prosperity is there. The good health is there. And I will tell you, we get your finances straightened out, your stress level collapses, your health will climb. Your energy level will climb. You'll quit sleeping as much as you do. Okay. If you feel you're oversleeping. Now, of course, I look at it going, if I'm sleeping 6-7 hours a night, I'm oversleeping. But that's because I usually only get 3. Okay. Like last night was weird. When did I actually get up? Last night was very weird. See, we got 3, 4. Yeah. Yesterday I ended up sleeping 6 between midnight and midnight. Okay. Today I'm not going to be doing that. As a matter of fact, from here on out, I'm going to do everything I can to correct it. But while I'm doing that, they tell us, and when I say they, I mean all the really wealthy people, they go, oh, it's really lonely at the top. Newsflash, cure for loneliness. If it's lonely when you're at the top, and I have never been to the top yet, not this lifetime, I am going there. I'm inviting all of you along with me. The reason being, if they are correct and it's lonely at the top, then the solution is to take all the people that you know, if at all possible, given they are willing to do the work, and take them with you. So all I'm doing is turning on the lights. Now I'm going to be doing the same thing with the energy of healing, with the energy of consulting. I'm opening all of these doors at the same time. Now, yes, it sounds like delusions of grandeur. Here you are, a self-professed broke individual, and you're talking about building an empire to help everyone around the world, wealthy and poor alike. That's because they're all the same. People are people. no matter where they come from, no matter how they got there. You're all of the same value. So, let me ask you this, and I've mentioned it multiple times. Okay, are you at a point in your life where you're ready to change your level of prosperity, your level of material liquidity? Are you at a point where you're ready to take control of that and grow it? Okay, fertilize the soil around your finances to make it grow. Okay, because that's the point that we have to get to, frankly, now. Okay, one of the biggest things we have to realize is if you make no changes, okay, ultimately, if you're not making changes to your life is going to stay the way it is. It's until somebody else changes it, i.e., your job gets canceled. I had a client today. I literally told her, okay, your big job is at a standstill right now. You desire it to change. Here's how to do it. And of course, her question was, oh, you really think I should do this? Let's be clear. I don't think. I know. Okay. I know that you're ready for the next step. Problem is, I can know that all I desire to. If you are not willing to take that step and even take a look at your own finances, I'll warn you, looking at your own finances in a completely analytical standpoint may give you a really depressing outlook on your financial state. Brace for it, you might have it. Okay, but you got to know where you are in order to really get an assessment of how far you come. Because here's the kicker. There's an old saying that goes, man is not judged by the height to which he climbs so much as by the depth from which he has climbed. Now, I know I'm in the bin a long way. You'll find out tomorrow how far. And then we're going to watch as that changes. Okay, we're going to take a look at it, and we're going to make the changes necessary to make this world a better world for virtually everybody. Because as you change your world, it's going to have a ripple effect and change the world of the people around you. But the question is, well, oh, there we go. Joe Stewart goes, it's my favorite, well, it's my Facebook cover photo. I am worth it still. I don't plan on changing it anytime soon. It gives me hope, and whoever else has seen it on Facebook. If it's made an impact already, then great. And this is the thing. I really do appreciate that, Joe. It's that message that's why when I sell a book, that bookmark goes with it. Okay. And this is the message that I'm doing my best with a whole lot of help from a lot of other people, coupled with the encouragement I get from you guys. Okay, this is how we're going to change this world, in spite of what the so-called superpowers, moguls, spiritual guides, religious leaders, in spite of what they're all telling us. We're going to change it in spite of that. Okay, one of the things that we got to remember here is this. Okay, there are a lot of people out there. Now, I don't know about you, but from my standpoint, it boils down to this. Okay, there are apparently roughly 8 billion people on the planet. None of them are going to come and correct and going to straighten out your finances. Okay, all I'm doing is turning on the lights and saying, hey, you may have overlooked this. If you do this, here's the outcome. Virtually everybody that's done it has found. Whether you do it is up to you. Okay, I'm giving you real-time practical input on what my state is in because it gives you, it has twofold. One, it shows you the light. It shows you the path. Two, if I'm going to tell you I'm using it, I'm going to show you I'm using it. Words are fantastic things. Okay, but if there's no action behind them, the words are useless. Okay, and this is why I take a look at this and I'm going, okay, we're talking practicality. We've got 7 watching right now. We never even hit double digits that I noticed today. And I see people, I see the videos up or the streams up that go, oh, I've got 200 people in the chat room. These are chat rooms that are covered by people going, you're all going to die. You're all going to suffer in depression. When as you get older, your body's going to fail. I got news for you. You keep telling a child, and by the way, every one of you is a child. Every one of you, I would lay odds, has a mother and a father. Okay. Any binary individual, i.e., forget the name of it, but any race that has male and female, everybody is a child. Okay, because you all have parents, whether you were born conceived naturally or you're a vat job conceived in a test tube, there was still a male and female component. You're still kids. And these people that sit there going, you don't deserve the truth, you can't handle the truth. 9 times out of 10, these people don't know the truth. Okay, and with that in mind, we are going to look at a whole bunch of things over the next week, not the least of which is we're going to take a look, and I hope that the ones of you that are listening now and the ones that come in and listen to this as a post, after post-production, I hope you take it to heart. Ellie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really hope that you do a solid assessment of your finances tonight. As soon as we're done the stream, if you're not tied up with something else, do your best to make it a priority. Get it done. Because we're going to go back, because tomorrow when we come on, we're going to be looking at it in a much more personal, direct fashion. And it will be tomorrow at the start that I will sit down and go, okay, here's what my accounts all look like. I'm not going to give you account numbers. Okay. I'm quite willing to take donations. I'm quite willing to sell any of the books I've got. That all gets done through the Buy Me a Coffee link or direct email at Inner Enterprises at yahoo.ca. Either one. I've never turned down money that didn't have a string attached to it. Yeah, I figure if somebody wants to give me money, I'm quite willing. So the reality of it is this. It is time now to take dominant control over your life, over your finances. Okay? Any of you that are struggling, if you don't know, or if you're just blasé, I've got enough money, I'm not hurting, I'm not wanting, I'm doing good. If your money is not growing of its own accord, you haven't trained it properly. You haven't given it freedom to do what it can. The reality is this. If you've got enough money to handle what's going on right now, do you have in your bank a minimum of 3 months total living expenses? Okay, by tomorrow, I'll know exactly what I require for that eventuality as well. And then we start working on that. And that, by the way, is what the savings account is for. Because by looking at what's coming in and directing it where it has to go, that's how you get ahead. And that is the part that most of us have completely overlooked. primarily because we were never taught. Okay, now I cannot change the fact that you weren't taught before. All I can do now is go, okay, I got a real clear message the other day. Okay, that it is time for me to step out of the shadows and absolutely drop the information on your doorstep and go, here you go. Thank you very much. We are on countdown, people, down to the last 15 minutes. Again, if you've got a question, absolutely put it in the chat room. Drop me a message in the comments. I'm going through those tonight as well. Okay. Drop me a message in the email. I will get to them as quick as I can. They are at this point, I've got a couple other things already listed, but I got a lot of work to do tonight. Something to my way of looking at it, I don't sit still a whole lot. Okay, but this is where this neat little list comes in. And this particular one handles what I've got to deal with. Okay, one thing we've got to realize is it's up to you to take direct control of where your life is, to take control of the energy. Okay, it's up to you. And I realize you've got to have some guidance. You may not know the tools. Okay, you may not know the right herbs or the right foods to put into your body to help get you healthy. You may not know the right thoughts or the right focus to make your finances healthy. Okay, I was talking to somebody today that said they were trained as a Reiki master, but she says, I've had to give it up because it tires me out. And that in and of itself is a kicker. Okay, if you're trained as an energy healer and it's wearing you out, bad news, you were trained ineffectively. Now, I will not fault the trainer. The odds are they were trained ineffectively. Fact of the matter is, when I work on healing people, whether it's mental, whether it is guidance on a spiritual or practical fashion, or direct physical healing, I don't get tired from it. But then that's because I don't do things the way everybody's been taught. I'm self-taught and or self-remembered. Okay, that's neat. If I look here, you start here. This looks like it's black. And I've got this neat little streak of gray going right up the middle. Almost looks like a skunk. Except it's a skunk that apparently has been electrocuted. So what we are looking at is this is the time for you to take a look at the energy in your life. Mental, okay, your spiritual, your mental, your emotional, your physical, your financial. Get the picture? Okay, this is what we are talking about. We are not talking about just money. Money is great. It's easier to carry around $100 than it is to carry around 50 head of cattle. Okay. Or, I remember a time when a cow was worth $10. So if you got a $50 bill or 5 cows to drag around behind you, which one's easier? And how much food have you got to give your $50 bill in order to keep him healthy so he's still worth 50? And no, we are certainly not talking about the currency exchange. Okay, there are so many things that we're overlooking, and that's what we're here to discuss, is turning the lights back on. Now, we will get to the spiritual guidelines down the road. Right now, we're dealing on finance. Okay, don't know what next week is going to do yet, but from now until Tuesday, we're going to look at how you can make your finances grow. But to get the most out of this, out of this week, take a look at your finances. Figure out all sources of income. Figure out all of your expenses. Once you've got all your expenses listed, okay, now you take a look at your sources of income and how much you've got coming in. Then you look at your expenses. I'd lay odds your expenses are wiping out your income. But then we take a look at your expenses and we start breaking them down. You break them into 3 categories: living expenses, rent, mortgage, okay, your housing, utilities, insurance, food, entertainment, and savings, all critically important. And tomorrow we will get into that as well. We'll get into that further down the road as well. You break them into that category first. Then and 1 credit card. Then all the rest of your credit cards, loans, leases, whatever investments you've got that are being paid for. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, okay, is your static bills, money you've gotten loaned from friends, from family that aren't charging you interest. Good night, Steve. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. Once you've got that, then we will start with this tomorrow, and that's why I say get that list together, because tomorrow we build on tonight. Okay, understand, money doesn't care how you feel. You can be as sick as a dog, it will still maintain its value. And whether you're a millionaire or a pauper, a dollar is a dollar is a dollar. It's that simple. It doesn't change. Okay, and by the way, if you suddenly win the lottery and now you've all of a sudden got $1 million, the dollar is still worth a dollar. Is a dollar. Is a dollar. You just got more of them. Okay. All things are healable. Your past you cannot alter. Okay, but what you can do is quit making the same dense moves. Okay, and this is something I've had to learn the hard way. Hopefully, by my revealing this to you, you'll quit making the same stupid moves I did. Okay, would be advisable. Let's try something new. When I say I did this, I tried it, I gave this experience a shot, and I lost everything. Don't take on the attitude of, well, it won't happen to me. I hope it doesn't. I'd much rather you go, okay, you gave that a shot, it backfired. How about we don't put our hand in the meat grinder? Just a thought. Ken, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now is the time to look at what you're doing. Okay, if what you're doing is not producing the results that you desire, it is absolutely critical. Assess what you're doing. Is it working for you? Okay. And, I get this all the time from people. They'll ask how to deal with something. I'll go, here's what will work with you. Here's what will work, or what has a good shot at working. And I get so many people going, yes, but I've got this plan. Look in the mirror. Look in your own bank account. Is the method you've got planned, has that been paying off? Okay. There is such a neat little situation. There was a show put out that was done years ago called The Money Pit. Okay. It focused around people that bought a house for next to nothing and then sunk money into it time after time, rebuilding. We're starting with whatever shambles your finances are in. Or if your finances are in good shape, we're going to show you how to accelerate their growth so they go from being in good shape to being in great shape. Okay, what we are aiming at is this: finances starting here and climbing. Weight. If you're what you consider overweight, take your weight from here and go down. If you're looking at when you're looking at your spiritual world, maybe you're closed off. So we're going to show you how to open that up so you can pull all the information down you require, the item you desire. Now, the real kicker to this is this: it's all using the same philosophy. It's all using the same principles. Everything that I do, and I'm going to steal a line from somebody centuries back. All that I do, thou shalt do, and more. You're capable of doing it. I know this for an absolute certainty. I've taken so many people and turned the lights on and said, here's where your holdup is, make these adjustments. The ones that have made the adjustments ended up prospering. And yes, I know this sounds cockier than all get out. I know it sounds like I'm saying, hey, I know what I'm doing. I'm telling you, I'm an idiot. Okay. I knew what I was doing and dug myself right into a hole. I'm just no longer interested in the hole. Okay. At this point, I am taking everything in my life and revamping it and building what I am aiming for. And yes, I'm going to turn on every light available so that you guys can turn around and see how to avoid what I did ineffectively. Now, on that note, Ellie's just informed us we are down to the last 5 minutes. That is our signal to literally tell you what the hell is that. Gotta do it this way because frankly I keep not being able to see. So thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us, taking the time out of your busy schedule. Okay. Tomorrow we will be back. We're going to be taking a look at where your own personal finances are stating. So make that list. Get it together so you've got your homework done, as it were. Yeah, I'm going to take on the form and go, I'm going to be a teacher now. Do your homework because tomorrow we build on it. We start changing your finances now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, right now. Okay? But it's up to you to do the work. All I'm doing is providing the tools. Now, with that in mind, I do want to say, like I said, I will be back. But until tomorrow, take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.